Thank you for joining the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida Chapter Study Group for October 12th, 2023. This is our 95th study group. Today we're going to talk about the practice test questions over the chapter of techniques. That's chapter 10 in the BABOK 3.0. Our goal here at the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower and instruct and engage the BA community. As you know, we are a worldwide organization. We have people from all over the world in our chapter. We have a variety of ways that you can link up with us. That would be through the BABOK study group that is happening right now, Thursday nights from 7 to 8 Eastern. We also have past meeting recordings, and we've covered the BABOK once already. We're on our way through the second time. We also have an IIBA site, a meetup, Zoom, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can reach out to us a variety of ways. Watermark Learning has been our consistent supporter through all of this. They've given us access to their practice test questions. If you want to purchase something from them, they've given us a discount. You're welcome to use it. It is Tampa space 21. It will give you a 20% discount on all of their products, not only business analysis, but others as well. We are a volunteer-led organization. You see Cliff here. He is our president. Yulia is our vice president of finance. Caitlin and Priscilla are board members at large. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the vice president of career and professional development. If you want to learn something and we're not teaching it to you this way, reach out to me. We'll either have a class or I'll do it one-on-one. If you want me to review your requirements, if you want me to just talk with you through something, I'm happy to do that. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. We are looking for a couple more people to be board members. If you're interested, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. It's not a huge commitment, but we want you on our board. What we do is we help people. All we do is we help people. We help people become business analysts. We help people understand what business analysis is. And if you want to help us on our good mission, reach out. Study group advisors have been consistently Bob Churchill, who has earned his CBAP, and Yulia, who has earned her CBAP. We have a couple of other people here online that have earned their CBAPs. If you've earned your CBAP, would you please just note in chat that you are online now and you've earned your CBAP? What that does is it allows us to use this as an education credit hour for everyone participating. Unfortunately, Bob has not been able to participate tonight, and I'm not positive Yulia is here either. So if you have your CBAP, please let us know through the chat. We have a lot of people that have earned their certifications after attending our study groups, and we are truly excited whenever we get notifications from people that say that they've earned their certification and they give us some of the credit. You get most of the credit, you did the work, but this is what we do. We don't charge any money for it. Unlike other chapters, we're just here to help people. So if you've earned your CBAP, or if we've even been beneficial to you, reach out and let us know. We want to know. Okay, before we get to the test questions, I want to go over a few things here. Let's see if I've still got it up. I want to let y'all know about a few things that are happening. Let's start with Laura. Laura Brandenburg is somebody that you should follow. If you're a business analyst or want to become a business analyst, Laura Brandenburg consistently puts out good stuff. She also has an organization called Bridging the Gap that teaches the basics as well as some of the advanced stuff for business analysis, and I adore her work. Aaron Wittenberger is someone else that you would want to follow. He always puts out good stuff, and his chapter in the Bluegrass chapter always has good programs going on. They do charge for their products, their training, but I have no doubt that it is high quality. And then I wanted you to see this one. It scrolled. I'm not finding it now. I had something here I wanted you to see, so I will skip that for now. Let me sign in on my other computer real quick, and we will get started on some of the test questions that we were working on. I'll ask you to hold on with me for just one moment. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to sign off on one computer and sign in on the other computer because I couldn't get everything on one computer today. I will be joining you in just a moment from the other computer.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank goodness. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to unshare, stop sharing on this one. Okay, one of the things that we were asked about is to understand the difference between focus groups and personas. So focus groups are basically groups that you get together to ask them their perspective on a specific thing. For instance, I went to a focus group. They wanted to know if I liked this frozen pizza that they served us. What did I like about it? What did I not like about it? There were about 6 to 10 people in the room. They wanted perspective on a specific thing, and that's all that they were interested in. Whenever you go to personas, though, personas are a very different thing. A persona is a characterization of one of your demographic customers. Whenever I worked at Hallmark, they had a persona of the customer, and the typical Hallmark customer was 68 years old. They had 3 cats. They had grandchildren. They loved to come in and shop the store and get cards for their grandchildren, personalized books. They love to get the Christmas collectible ornaments. They talked about this person as though she were somebody that they reported to. You know, she wouldn't like that. That's what a persona is. If you have several different types of customers, you're going to have several different types of personas. But getting to know them and getting them to be a real person in the product owner's mind, as well as in the UI, UX folks, for them to understand who they're talking about whenever they're developing for them, it really helps them to develop for that person or for that customer, for that demographic. So that's the difference between focus groups and personas. The other thing that was asked is the formula to create an ROI for return on investment. This is not my strength. Is there someone that can speak up and help us understand this formula? I understand it's total benefits minus cost of investment divided by cost of investment. Do we have any financial gurus here or number gurus that understand this better than I do? Okay, that looks like it's something for another.
And I think this is different than, or maybe I should ask it as a question, is ROI different than net present value? Net present value projects the future costs of something over a period of time, whereas ROI is just a simple math problem of bang for buck, as I understand it. It doesn't really.
I would agree.
A lot.
I would agree on that.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. You spoke up. I appreciate that. The payback period.
Sorry, and that you try to realize at what point that your costs meet the revenue. that you can also bring in, kind of your break even.
So
as well.
it's one of those, at 6 months, we will have paid back the project, but we'll continue to be saving money or making money beyond that point. Is that the payback period?
Yes, and typically when you do an ROI or an NPV, like what Jim said, is typically organizations want you to look out as far as 5 years. At least that's what they do here, or where Jim and I work.
And the other nuance to net present value versus ROI is that in net present value, it considers, I believe, the value of something into the future. So it takes into account adjustments to those costs. So today's dollar buys something different in the future. So we have to compare apples to apples, today's dollars to tomorrow's dollars.
So is there any like equation we can calculate the payback period, like what I see as cost of change by net benefit? How can we come up with the payback period, like equation for calculating the payback period?
I think we'd need to look at the financial analysis section to look at the difference between the formulas.
Mhm. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. I apologize, guys. I am just having, this is like surfing on roller skates. Okay, we're going to talk about the exam. We're going to do a test questions for Watermark Learning. We're going to go through 25 warm-up questions. I'll tell you what, let's go through 25 drill questions. We're going to specifically go for techniques, and we're going to get feedback after every question. So what I want you to do is participate. I want you to look at, I'm going to read the question. I'm going to read all the answers. I want you to tell me if any of the answers are absolutely not true, because we want to eliminate all of the ones that we know can't be true. And then we have, you know, if it's 3 questions, we have 33% chance of getting it right. And then whatever's left, we're going to go through those and talk about, of these, which one is the most correct according to the BABOK. So let's begin the new exam.
And do you want us to
As a
respond verbally or in the chat?
I want you to respond verbally after I finish reading the answers. As a business analyst, you want to specify the needs of a specific user and enable teams to define features of a value to a user and written in the user's language. What technique would best serve this purpose? So we want to specify the needs and enable teams to define features of a value to a user and written in the user's language. Which of these, is there any of these that is not absolutely true?
Eliminate prototyping.
Eliminate prototyping. Okay.
Use cases and
User
scenarios?
specification a real technique?
No.
That doesn't sound like a real technique.
It's not a real technique. So we have use cases and scenarios or user stories. We want it written in the user's language, and it's going to define value.
I'm going to say user stories, because those are described in as this role, I need to be able to do these things so that blah, 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 which might be your value, and
That's
this
your value.
is defined by this criteria. That's kind of the format.
Right.
I agree.
I also
Okay.
think that what gives it away is written in a user's language, because a use case isn't necessarily written in the user's language, but a user story.
Absolutely.
Right.
Good.
And I want to add, use case is for the user, how the user interact with the system.
Mm-hmm. The user does this, the system does this. The user does this, the system does this. Okay, so we are correct. User stories are a technique used to specify the end model requirement task, to specify requirements as a statement about what people do or need to do when using the solution. Okay, Claire is wrapping up a brainstorming session. Which of the following activities are included in that element? discuss and evaluate, record ideas, rate ideas, and distribute the final list, discuss and evaluate, share ideas, create list, and distribute final list, discuss and evaluate, create list, rate ideas, distribute final list, or share ideas, create list, rate ideas, and distribute final list. Are any of these not true?
I think the purpose
Stop
of brainstorming is not
Yes.
necessarily to rate ideas. I'm going on a limb there. And
Okay.
you've got 3 of them that say rate, but specific just to brainstorming. And I'm not looking at the BABOK right now, but specific just to brainstorming. I didn't think you were supposed to rate each other's idea during the brainstorming session.
So,
At
No,
the end
that's
of
usually afterwards.
At
so
the end of brainstorming, for the follow-up, you switch from right brain to left brain and prioritize and rate.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
that's why I thought I was going on a limb, because I just remember that you don't necessarily rate during brainstorming, but I'm gonna look it up now that we're talking.
It's
So
an
we
after
we
brainstorming.
we could eliminate A and C because those two don't include sharing ideas, and brainstorming includes sharing ideas. So
Yeah, I'd like to point out that in the question it says you're wrapping a brainstorming
Okay,
session,
you're
not
right.
starting a brainstorming session.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so wrapping actually happens at the last stage of the brainstorming when all the ideas already shared.
Right.
So I think
So-
C is the right answer.
I've got 1 vote for C. Do I have a second vote?
I
For
don't
C
think
or any other thing?
Record.
it's one of the elements.
Yeah, so I guess if you're wrapping it up, you've already recorded them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're wrapping up, you're not, are you creating the list or are you, but all of these, do all of these have create lists? I think the top one doesn't have.
This one does not have create lists, but it has record ideas. Distribute the final list, distribute final list, distribute final list, and distribute final list is on all of them.
Yeah, I'm starting to look like that B again.
What does
You like
create
B?
mean?
I don't know.
Okay, let's check the answer. We'll find out if we're wrong. Okay, C. These are the 4 elements in the wrap-up element of brainstorming. So it's discuss and evaluate, create list, rate ideas, and distribute final list.
Yeah.
This talks about sharing happens during the brainstorming session itself. Okay. Which of the following is considered a strength of creating a glossary? Promotes common understanding of the business domain and better communication among all stakeholders, is an essential input into the data dictionary, and helps promote common understanding of business terms as well as terms related to entities and attributes, captures various definitions from different stakeholder groups so the stakeholders do not need to agree on a single term, or allows an owner to perform timely maintenance, which helps ensure it does not become outdated or ignored. Actually, this one is a weakness, not a strength.
Don't.
Mm, I'll go for A.
This one is absolutely not a glossary.
Yeah.
The stakeholders need to agree on a single term. So I think it's between A and B. What do y'all think?
So A is common understanding and communication among stakeholders. And B is into the data dictionary. I think a data dictionary is something else. I don't know the glossary. But
Data dictionary is input to the data flow diagram. So it's like not an essential input to the glossary.
A is probably best candidate. What do you think, Christian?
I'm sorry, did you say A?
I was
A for apple.
Okay, let's check it.
really
And we are correct. Look at us go. All right. You just completed your requirements workshop. Who should be involved with capturing the elicitation outcomes from the workshop? Is it the business analyst, project manager, and scribe, business analyst and project manager, or business analyst and scribe. This is a requirements workshop. Do you have a scribe for requirements workshop?
You might or you might not.
I
Right.
don't.
I
I
don't.
believe it's recommended that you do,
Yeah,
because
it
it's very
probably would be
facilitate
good.
and scribe at the same time.
I think as per Babok, scribe is there. So I'll go for D for dog.
Do you,
Okay, I've got
I
one
think-
vote for D. Do I have another vote?
I would agree that
I-
makes sense.
I agree with D also because I remember the BABOK talking about the scribe, so D.
Like a best practice.
Ooh. No other resources than BA is specified for documenting elicitation
Oh.
outcomes. Okay, guys, then I misled you. I'm sorry. And here's the sad thing. I wrote this 10 years ago and I don't remember it. So here we go.
You wrote the exam?
Okay, so the business analyst is responsible for capturing the elicitation outcomes from the workshop. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of zoom through this. Consider the following use case diagram. What is wrong with this diagram? Okay, so we've got a director, producer, and actor, contracting system, casting director, and marketing. The director and producer are involved in initiating the movie with the contracting system. The producer, I'm sorry, and then for cast parts, the director and the actors are involved with contracting systems and casting directors. For film movie, the director and the actors. Distribute movie, the producer and the contracting systems. I'm not seeing any arrows or indicators of
Film movie doesn't go to the right on any. Every one of those go to the right on something except for the film movie.
well, let's look at the
But
answers. Let's see if it's
contracting
There's no
The marketing
link
doesn't,
to the marketing person.
yeah.
the marketing actor is not connected to any use case. Well, that is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Yeah.
too many actors for the number of use cases. I don't think that's really a true thing. You could have, every one of them could be connected to one of those. That wouldn't be a problem. There are too many cross lines. Well, my OCD says yes to that one, but I don't think that's really what they're asking for. The cast parts use case connected to too many actors.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what I heard. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, what's the sense of the use case?
And that is correct. This is a valid issue. All actors on use case diagram should be connected to at least one use case. Okay, let's go on. The early identification of interfaces provides context for the BA to elicit more detailed requirements. Which classification of requirements is the BA describing? Is this transition, non-functional, stakeholder, or functional? Identification of interfaces.
Functional.
I think it's functional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think functional?
I agree with functional because
I what?
interfaces, you have to understand how they work. The interfaces are not non-functional. The non-functional requirements don't describe what the system will do. It describes quality or performance kinds of things. Stakeholder is interesting, but
It's actually the identification of the interfaces, though, not necessarily
right.
not necessarily the data points that need to come across the interface.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check this answer and see what we got.
Oh.
Well,
Right,
stakeholder was interesting.
That's probably the difference.
Identification of interfaces provides context for the BA to elicit more detailed stakeholder requirements, which determines adequate function coverage for the solution.
So maybe that's the difference then, is that it's not asking a question about the data elements, it's asking what interfaces do you need. So that'd be the
Let's think about we want to create something to distribute phone calls in a call center, we need to go to the call centers and say, what kind of abilities do y'all have? What equipment do you have that we can send you calls? Is it something that's adaptable to what we are planning on using, or is it something else? Does that sound right?
Yes, and I think the way I key into C is that when you're doing current state, you might say, what interfaces do we need to be concerned about to move to future state? And so you're talking to stakeholders about that.
Right.
And later you will delve into the details of how those interfaces work. So the key in this question is early identification of interfaces. So yeah.
I agree. Very good. Okay, you are a business analyst for your organization. You want to use the requirements elicitation technique to produce a broad set of opinions for an identified problem. You want the stakeholders to help you identify options, factors that affect the solution and possible solution issues, along with the risk and dependencies. Which of the following requirements elicitation activities would best be the best approach to satisfy these requirements? Would it be brainstorming, affinity mapping, benchmarking, or mind mapping? First of all, are any of those techniques not really a technique?
Yeah,
Affinity mapping?
Affinity mapping?
I don't remember it there.
Uh,
So we want to get a wide set of possible solutions and possible solution issues, factors that affect the solution, risks and dependencies. It doesn't sound like it's brainstorming or benchmarking.
I wouldn't
Would you look at it's mind mapping?
I wouldn't say it's benchmarking, but I'm not throwing out brainstorming yet.
yeah, not either. What's the
What
difference?
though than brainstorming?
But I agree, mind mapping could be a candidate as well.
That's, yeah, I agree between A and D.
Right.
A or dog, yes.
Though
Somebody
I
give
don't
me
know that I've used that using mind
Benchmarking
mapping.
is for financial analysis or estimation, isn't it?
What was that, Leanne?
Mind mapping is a way of
Benchmarking is
brainstorming.
for financial analysis or estimation, as
Okay.
far as I know. Is it true?
The
Could it be
benchmark
brainstorm?
is looking at what best market best practices are and kind of it to your enterprise. But I think this is, so I agree that C is not the answer.
No.
I tend to choose D because it seems there are a lot of things to work on, and mind mapping provide a very good visual way to create the different options for a certain aspect, like risk. We've been talking about risk. We can use our mind map to generate different ideas.
And mind mapping
And it
is
also shows
specific to one.
relationships.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's an identified problem. And so since the problem is identified, which typically it would be,
Brainstorming.
mind mapping could be it, but I still think it's really close between mind mapping and brainstorming.
Well, let's see what the answer is. Okay, brainstorming is the answer. Brainstorming is used to generate many ideas from a group of stakeholders in a short period and to organize and prioritize those. Mind mapping is a close second, as it's a form of note-taking to capture thoughts. So this is the way to capture thoughts for brainstorming. The scenario is describing brainstorming, the results of which would be organized in a mind map, or could be organized in a mind map. So we weren't so far off. Which of the following are included as primitive data elements in a data dictionary? Name, values, definition, values, relationship, name, and rules, relationships, alias, description, and alias, description, or values.
Does a data dictionary have rules?
Good question. And that doesn't seem like primitive data elements. That seems like it's something advanced if it were in the data dictionary. I mean, you can put anything in there you want, I guess. But what would be primitive data elements according to the BABOK?
I would think A.
hey, yeah, name, values, and
Yeah.
definition.
Let's check it. and alias description and values. So a name and an alias is going to be really similar in a data dictionary. And Cliff, I want you to speak up on this one. What things are called in the, for instance, in the UI is not necessarily what they are in the back end, but the description would be what they are in the
absolutely.
back end. And then the values would be things like it's 6 digits and it cannot have special characters or letters in it. Am I correct in that, Cliff?
Correct. That's one of the problems you have with a front end interface is a lot of times it gives you the capability of renaming fields and those kinds of things, but a database in the back end does not really allow you to do that. So you're changing it through the front end, not the back end. It's a constant problem we have with Microsoft Dynamics because they constantly change the names on the forms and they think that changes the name in the database, and it does not.
Well, it's like it should. So there's two things whenever you're designing databases with people. Be sure that what's on the front end makes sense to the user, and then what's on the back end, if it can be as close to the front end as possible, it's best.
Oh, it usually is in the beginning.
I understand.
5 years down is when you get into the real problems, you know.
Okay. You're focusing your elicitation activities on transition requirements. What techniques may provide the best requirements for this activity? Would it be focus groups, observation, prototype, or interface analysis? So can somebody tell me the definition of a transition requirement?
Requirements that are temporary, that may be thrown away after the project, that allow you to understand how, for instance, data might be converted from the old system, or how to make the transition from current state to future state.
Perfect. So to make the transition, would it be a prototype?
I don't think so. I don't think so. There can be
What
folks-
vote do I have?
Interface analysis, perhaps?
Either
I'm
C
sorry, I'm
or
having trouble
D.
hearing you.
I'm thinking B, but not because I know that from the BABOK, but just from experience.
From real life?
If you had a
Okay.
prototype, you could compare the prototype, which would imply future state system that's stuck, and you could compare it to your current state system and say, how do we get from our current state system to this prototype?
Right. And that would be a transition requirement.
Gap analysis between
also be
current state and prototype.
Right.
Hmm.
Let's check the answer in the interest of time.
Solicitation isn't necessarily obligation.
Okay.
Interface
For
analysis.
this, interface analysis
Great.
may yield implementation requirements that help the facilitate transition from current state to future state.
What if you don't
I'm
have
gonna have to think about that one. That one seems weird.
well, it assumes you have interfaces.
That's right. What if you don't? Okay, this is one for me to look up later. 24.3. Moving on. Ida is trying to identify and capture the business rules for a project she's currently working on. Which technique would best help her identify the stakeholders she needs to talk to about their business rules? Would it be interviews, root cause analysis, business rules analysis, or item tracking? She's trying to capture and identify the business rules.
Is there business rules analysis?
Interview.
This term?
Is this a real technique?
I don't think so.
It says which technique would best help her identify the stakeholders who she needs to talk to about their business rules.
You're right. This has nothing to do with the rules.
I will choose interviews.
Which technique?
I'm sorry, say that again.
If there's no such term that's called business rules analysis, I will go interviews.
Okay, let's try interviews.
Oh.
No way.
There's such term, business rules analysis.
There is.
Oh,
Things
What's the
we needed to
definition?
learn, guys. This is 10.9. Okay, next. Connie has just received notice that her project has a new deadline and she needs to quickly elicit several requirements for it. Which of the following techniques would Connie want to choose to enable her to meet the deadline? Would it be interviews, surveys, workshops, and brainstorming? Prototype surveys, workshops, and brainstorming? Focus groups, observation, workshops, and brainstorming? Prototypes, surveys, document analysis, and brainstorm. So we need something that's fast. Are any of these not fast?
this interview is not fast.
Interviews are maybe groups of 4 max.
I would say C, focus group, observation, workshop, and brainstorming. Survey,
Creating prototypes is not fast. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
survey would take some time, and that's in A, B, and D. So for that reason, I would go with C.
Okay, let's try C. In the interest of time, let's just move. Okay, so prototype surveys, workshops, and brainstorming are cited in providing quick elicitation of requirements. Workshops will take time to set up, but during the workshop session, we'll get rapid development of the requirements.
Wow.
Okay, so these are the rapid ones. Prototype surveys, workshops, and brainstorming. Which of the following steps are completed during an active brainstorming session? So this is during the brainstorming itself. Elicit as many ideas as possible, discuss and evaluate ideas, elicit as many ideas as possible, rate ideas, share ideas, rate ideas, share ideas, and build on others' ideas.
But this is during the brainstorming session, not wrapping it up.
Not wrapping it up. This is during the right brain part of the brainstorming session.
I'll go C, build on
I'm going
others' ideas.
So we know that we don't rate ideas during brainstorming, right?
We do that in the wrap up.
We don't evaluate ideas during brainstorming, right?
Right.
We're sharing
Yeah.
ideas and building on each other's ideas.
Yeah,
Let's
D.
try and see if this is the right answer.
Gotta get that one right.
Okay. Let's see, which technique will be most helpful? So Graham, the lead business analyst on an effort, is in the process of defining the business analysis approach. He wants to choose an approach that will provide adequate analysis for the change in order to understand the characteristics of the change, such as time sensitivity, value of the change, assumptions, and risk and constraints. Which technique would be most helpful? Would it be the business case, a SWOT analysis, document analysis, or brainstorming? So he wants to characters. This is what he wants to understand.
Not business cases.
And he's in the
SWOT
process of defining the business analysis approach. So he's in the very beginning of the project.
So the value of the change is interesting because that's part of what's described in a business case.
Yeah.
A or B.
And business case happens early.
Yeah.
SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats.
No, there's no.
That would give us risk and constraints, but that could be in the business case too.
Yeah, I think it's business case.
Go for business case. Yeah.
Okay, let's check it. All right. Business case would also outline any particular uncertainties regarding elements of the possible need or solution, which would be identified as a risk. Very good. Okay. Sergio is on an agile team that's at a standstill. Product owner was having trouble prioritizing features to be developed and thought all features were of equal importance. Haven't we heard that before? After trying various simpler prioritization methods, Sergio suggested the team list important criteria for making the decision and have the product owner assign weights to them. The team did that and produced the following matrix, which was not quite complete. So items to be ranked on the left-hand side, customer feature with a 0.5 weight, time saving, 0.3 weight, user experience, 0.2 weight, total votes, final ranking. Which of the features should the team prioritize as most important? So based on this, you basically do the multiplication and add it together. So this one has,
And something.
this is going to be a 0.09. This one's going to have a, I'm sorry, guys, I can't do the math in my head right now. It's going to be 0.15, 0.6, and a point. It looks like this one's going to be the, whoop,
I think
added
that new
company is going to be the highest votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and new company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's find out. Correct. Option is 2.5 and is of the highest priority. So the weighted ranking is literally multiplying the weight by this number and replacing this number here as a weight as the value and then adding it together. Which are the commonly used financial calculations methods? Return on investment, discount rate, present value, net present value, internal rate of return, buyback method, cost benefit analysis. Return on investment, discount rate, present value, net present value, internal rate of return, payback period. Return on investment, discount rate, present value, net present value, internal rate of return, average rate of return, and return on investment, average rate of return, discount rate, present value, net present value, internal rate of return, and buyback method. Any of these not real financial calculation methods.
I've never heard of a buyback period.
Yeah, so that eliminates A and D.
Okay, so A and D are out. So B and C, which one?
Is it payback period or is it average rate of return?
Average.
Payback period.
We looked at this one earlier. Payback period.
Yeah. I think it's
So
B.
let's go with B and see what we get.
I've never heard of an
Yes.
average rate of.
Okay, we're good there. A growing financial institution is seeking innovative and state-of-the-art solutions that will produce sustainable competitive advantage over its competitors and provide customers with a legendary experience. Which technique is the institution least likely to use in understanding the product that would serve its purpose? So we want the one that they're not going to use. Would they possibly use lessons learned?
It's possible.
Okay. Would they possibly use document analysis? Would that give them the information they're looking for?
In terms of keeping your competitive advantage over its competitors, that's what I'm noticing here. And benchmarking and market analysis are comparing what our capabilities are versus what our competitors can do.
Yep.
Definitely want that one.
So we think they would use A or C. How about B or D?
I think brainstorming is the least likely because at least document analysis is part of understanding your own capabilities and processes.
But they want innovative and state-of-the-art
Ah.
solutions.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking brainstorming is a
I
possibility.
want that, I would think.
but document analysis would be the least likely.
Okay, let's check it.
Yeah. I agree.
Ooh,
Oh, it's
Ooh.
incorrect.
benchmarking is not innovative and it seeks best practices in competitors' organizations. But you know what? I don't agree with that because benchmarking and market analysis allows you to get
Gotta see what's out
identify
there.
how you can get a competitive advantage
Yeah.
and understanding your competitors. If
Yeah.
you don't understand your competitors, you don't know how to measure yourself compared to them, right?
Yeah, and you can't be innovative because maybe they've already
I
thought of
think-
it.
Right.
I think the idea behind this question was that this benchmarking and marketing analysis do not provide any new or innovative anything. It's just comparing what is out there.
You know what? You're right. Theoretically, if you're right about this, this has already been done. They don't
Yeah.
need to do it again.
Why isn't brainstorming
So
behind?
benchmarking is just a comparing existing options against each other and not providing any, as it says, legendary experience or innovative. And that's what
Right.
I think was behind this question.
But he's still seeking, right? The organization is still seeking. So wouldn't be
Yeah.
like
I don't know.
that's still doing this.
I'm gonna
And
flag this
Bob
one,
said
guys.
this is goofy.
Weird. Yeah, it's goofy. Very good. Okay, we only have time for one more. So let's do one more and then see how we do and decide if we want to do this chapter again next week. As a BA who recently worked on an effort to improve one of the sales processes in our organization, Christine received a number of inquiries from the call center about issues with the automated daily sales by region reports. Although no new automation accompanied the change in process, she was asked to look into the issue. Christine's analysis showed that one of the sales assistants was inputting incorrect information into the system. What should Christine do next? So they didn't make any changes, but the thing that they were looking at is being reported as having a problem, and she's identified a problem. So should she model the sales data to ensure that accurate data is being entered, track the identified problem to be sure it's resolved, conduct a requirements workshop to analyze the sales process, or analyze the automated system to see if incorrect information could be edited out so it is not allowed to be entered into the system? So it really isn't her project. The problem that she's identified is not part of her project.
To me, if you identified the person who is entering incorrect information, that you'd want to work with that person to correct the information.
Yes.
So you track the identified problem, so you did, and then you ensure that it's resolved. So I'm saying
Okay. This one would be awesome if she wasn't going to work with the person or work with somebody, but let's try this one. Let's see what this gives us. And it's correct. Christine needs to determine why incorrect information is being entered. Before analyzing the cause, Christine needs to track the problem, which is item tracking, and determine the best way to resolve it. So let's look at how many answers we got. We're going to submit it. Key results. So out of 20, we only did like 16. We got 11 right. No, we got 11 wrong and 9 right. But of those that were wrong, 4 or 5 of them we didn't even answer. I would like to do this again next week with less technical difficulties, and let's get better at understanding the techniques from a high level instead of down deep in the weeds as we have been. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Once again, if you have earned your CBAP, please enter it into the chat so that we know that we have a CBAP amongst us. If anyone is aware of any positions that are available, if you'll contact me directly, I will be able to provide that to other people who are contacting me looking for positions. And we will see y'all here again next week. See you later, guys. Bye.
You.
Bye, guys. Great.
Sweet, no?